Okay. Frank, we're sitting here in the at the Kentucky Horse Park at the what's it called?
The Alltech Reining Arena,
yeah,
man.
excuse me. They didn't spend enough money.
Keep that in. Dr. Lyons will love that. Hey, Pierce, baby, did you hear this one?
Yeah, there it is up there. Yeah, sorry I missed that. You know, my eyes are on Frank's blue eyes. I can't. They're just mesmerizing. I'm sorry. Frank, we're sitting here in the Alltech Arena at the Kentucky Horse Park, and you know, when I walked in here, I was thinking, gosh, 18 years ago is when you and I first met and started talking about.
I was a kid.
That's true. That's true.
We
were both
child,
kids.
yeah.
We were both kids. But I mean, 18 years ago, who'd have thought that one day it would happen here? Can you kind of take us along?
Well, the whole performance horse industry, with reining being obviously the leader of the pack, very fortunate, had a meteoric rise in its global representation, or recognition, I should say. And through the partnership of organizations like the USCT, AHSA, ASAE, USCF, AQHA, NRHA,
right.
And obviously with Markel being a sponsor of most of the major associations, it's certainly paved the way for the natural progression of the reining horse to evolve into what it's become. And the advantage of being involved with a discipline such as reining, this is obviously a phenomenal facility. But really, to have a reining only needs a patch of dirt, 3 judges, or a judge, and prize money. And you can have a reining, and you can have it in South Africa, you can have it in Australia, you can have it in Belgium, you can have it anywhere in the world. And that is the true advantage to reining as a discipline and what it's been able to come throughout the world. And it's due to the presence of mind of people like Tom McCutcheon and Brian Pace and Wayne Latimer and all the American and Canadian riders that went overseas and allowed the sport to really develop and ingrain the people that from other parts of the world that were never around a Western lifestyle or a Western discipline to truly become proponents of the system.
Well, you're being really humble, because I know you were such a big part of that, in spurring that and getting those people together and going over there, and I mean, countless trips that you and others took to show people what reining was all about, and it sells itself once you get the crowds in. But
well,
can you share some of those experiences with us?
I have to tell you one in particular. We were at the U.S. ambassador's residence to Russia on the 4th of July. And the last place I wanted to be was outside the United States. I mean, there's just something about the 4th of July. I mean, I still want to watch Yankee Doodle Dandy with Jim Cagney at some point in time during the day.
Absolutely.
And being in Moscow was not my idea of where I wanted to be. But anyhow, I was there. There were more Mercedes in the streets than I'd ever seen before. And I was joking with Mark Wagman that the gentleman probably less than the distance from you and I to the cameras was a guy that looked familiar to me. And he said, "Frank, here we are in Moscow. Who do you think you know here?" I said, "I'm not saying I know him." I said, "He looks familiar." And he turned around. I could see the birthmark on his forehead, and it was Mikhail Gorbachev. And then I knew we had really hit the big time, so to speak. And when we first got to this arena, it was to be the Alltech Reining Arena, and then it was the Reining Arena, and then the Alltech Arena, and then I kept looking for this little arena, and I thought it was on the northwest corner of the horse park, because that's where John Nicholson had told me he thought it would be. And I drove right by it, because I didn't think that reining would have and I don't refer to it as arena. I say the Reining Coliseum or the Alltech Coliseum.
Wow, yeah.
Because this is not an arena to me. This is
unbelievable.
Coliseum. And I want to tell you that being here for the World Equestrian Games in 2010, with the support of everyone from the FEI and the ladies in the FEI office, had a saying when we got here that reiners ruled. Between that and just the ambience of the horse park and the ride-a-reiner from the NRHA, it was just a really humbling experience, and I was very proud to be a part of it.
I bet you were. I tell you what, it's been great being your partner, and it's been a heck of a ride, and there's still more to come.
Why, absolutely. You know, and I can think back in the day when there was a major purchase of a stallion and a breeding program being put together by two very good friends of mine, that being Tim McQuay and Dr. Sloan. And at the time, you know, they said, we need to insure this, and this, and get it. Can we get it done today? And it was 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I wasn't in the office. I was at the NRBC. And I called and was fortunate enough to get our chief mortality underwriter, a lady by the name of Mary Ann Kane. And I said, look, we need to do this. It's going to be a very sizable amount. Can we get it done? She said, I'll be back to you. Within 2 hours, we had the whole package insured. And both of them looked at me and said, it's done? I said, yeah, it's done.
I love to hear stories like that.
And the rest is history. I can tell you one other time, a very good friend of mine by the name of Bob Laporta had a barn fire.
I remember that.
Markel's adjusters were there prior to any other casualty adjuster. We didn't have the casualty business, we just had the equine insurance business. And our adjusters were there before any casualty adjusters thought about stepping foot on the property.
Well, it's been a two-way street, believe me, and great partnership, because I remember when we met 18 years ago, we didn't write hardly any Western discipline, quarter horses, disciplines or breeds, and so we kind of rose with you, and it's now our largest area of growth. And a lot of that's the partnerships and then delivery.
Oh, absolutely, you know, absolutely. And it's obviously due to the fact of the recognition that I've been able to enjoy in the reining horse business or the horse business. But it's also the fact that Markel does what they say they're going to do. In other words, if we say we're going to insure somebody, they're insured. And the last thing that, and I tell people, the last thing that Markel worries about is the money. But what we need are the forms, the documentation, and the go-ahead. And I think the stepping up, so to speak, of the casualty division, the mortality division, they're just second to none, and they're all great people to work with.
Well, Frank, I want to thank you for not only being a great business partner, but a good friend.
Well, thank you, Don. And it wouldn't be done without your leadership.
Thank you.
Everybody has to, it all filters down from the top, my friend.
It goes both ways, buddy.
Thank you.